Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Friday Morning Live. We are excited for you all to be with us this morning with our special guest from RMS Hospitality, Frank Elorza. Excuse me, I apologize for that. It's been a crazy morning, but we'll get Frank to pronounce his name correctly when we get him going. But today's date is October 29th, 2021, and we are excited you're with us. As you can see, there's yours truly, Dave Newell, your host this morning on a program that we're excited about to make sure everybody that's on this webinar this morning understands the ins and outs of this hospitality program as a partnership with IMS and FMS here at FAI, and there may be other states on here as well. So just some housekeeping, Frank, before we turn it over to you. Our education has continued to be web-based, so certainly go to FAI.com, hit the education tab, and you'll see the upcoming classes that are available for continuing education here at FAI. Capital Days, just want to remind you, we'll do this as we lead up to the session this year. It is early. It is in January, so our Capital Days is now in January, so I strongly recommend you get online and register and get your hotel because it'll be a busy, busy January with a lot of folks in town for these events. And so we want to make sure you're at the host hotel with us. So just get on there when you get a chance. Upcoming shows. November the 12th is the next one. Many of you know Amanda Chatham just blogged on Swiss Re Westport is making some policy enhancements. And so we're going to have the team on from FAI's E&O department discussing those enhancements and answering your questions. So if you have a Westport policy through FAIA, certainly want to join us. And if you're interested in some of the policy provisions and some of the enhancements, to take a look at that program through FAI, certainly recommend you get on that show November the 12th. And then the last show of the year will be December the 10th, legislative preview with Laura Pierce and B.G. Murphy. They are working diligently each week with committee meetings and other things that are going on up here in Tallahassee. So tune in December the 10th so you'll hear what the latest is about some of the proposed legislation and how you as an agent can get involved. And the last thing I'll say before we turn it over to our friend Frank is many of you have written us about Southern Fidelity and the lack of renewal policies that have been issued here in Florida. We certainly have heard from our friends in South Carolina and our friends from Louisiana that also have business with that particular carrier. I blogged on this last night, and those renewal notices are still in limbo, but the carrier sent a notice to all affected agents advising them that coverage has been extended based on current Florida statute. So hopefully you've gotten that bulletin directly from Southern Fidelity. Go ahead and click the link. It will show you what policies are impacted by this extension of coverage. And then certainly reach out to them if you have additional questions or concerns. But that is the latest that we understand about Southern Fidelity is they have issued an agent bulletin that I have added to our community here at FAI. So, all right, Frank, let's bring you in and talk about today's topics. RMS Hospitality Group, bars, nightclubs, and franchise food service. And there's our friend Frank. Frank, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry about the technical issues today.
And that's fine. Frank, I'm going to go ahead and elevate you so you can share your screen and show the your presentation, right? Is that what we want to do? You good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Sure.
Okay. I just made you a presenter, Frank. So you're going to show your screen on your end, and we'll talk through the program. But a couple things to keep in mind as Frank gets set up. Frank's been in the business over 30 years. Doesn't look that way, but certainly has a little experience behind him. He has been with this group for several years. They're located in Garden City, Long Island. Frank is responsible for assisting in the development of marketing programs for large mass marketing groups and programs. Frank has also served as the president of the Tri-County Independent Insurance Agents. He's currently a director on the association's board. He is a veteran. He was a United States Marine. So thank you for your service, Frank. And so with that in mind, as you continue to do that, but folks, just like we do on many of these programs, Frank will give a presentation, and then we'll answer as many questions as we can, either during the presentation or go offline and get you the answers if we don't have time during today's conversation with Frank. So I see you still hustling with that. Hopefully everybody's having a good morning. It's a little cool up here in Tallahassee, so we're enjoying that, and hopefully it's a little cooler where you are. For those other state associations that have been invited, hopefully you will learn a lot about this program that's available to you in your state through the IMS platform. And what do you think, Frank?
Dave?
Yeah.
Can you guys see my screens now at this point or no?
We can't see your PowerPoint, but we can see your screen of your desktop. Yes.
Okay, so maybe what we can do is just let's go through the. I have.
Hello. Hello, Frank. There, I see. There was your PowerPoint. You just need to put it up there on the screen. Frank, how'd we lose you? Frank. Yeah, Frank. For some reason, we're not hearing you. We see you moving your mouse. We see you. All right, we just lost Frank. Frank, if you hear us, go ahead and dial back in on your cell. And folks, we apologize immensely about this. This is, sometimes out of our control when we have remote guests trying to use technology and come through our motherboard here at FAI. We apologize. We'll see if we can't get Frank reconnected here in a sec and go from there. I think what we may need to do is I have the presentation. We may have to run it on my end and just have Frank talk. So, Frank, when you come back in, I think that's what we're probably going to do is just get you to, I'll just, because I have the slides here. So, but I can't do anything until I get control back. So how did we do this last time, Brian? Again, folks, bear with us. Apologize. He's there, right? Select me. Okay. Show my screen. What am I doing here? Get rid of that. All right. So I need to get rid of this PowerPoint. But we're still not hearing Frank, so that's concerning to me. Frank, you self-muted again, but I thought you back with us? Huh? Frank? I can barely hear you. So let's try that again. Frank? Hey, Frank. Hey, Frank. I can barely hear you. Oh, I'm hearing you better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Hey, Frank, I'm just going to run it. Let me run it on my end. Let me pull up what you sent me. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, please.
Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Now, Brian, I got to show my screen. Why isn't it showing my screen? Just bear with me for a sec. We're trying to. Oh, you're seeing it? Okay. All right, Frank, can you see your first slide, which says hospitality insurance program? All right.
I can. And just so we can get this moving along for everyone.
Yeah, let's just. I'm gonna advance it. You and you just talk over it. Just talk about the program, and just say next, and I'll move the screen up. Okay.
Okay. If you can jump down a couple of slides.
All right. Here. Appetite.
Okay, perfect. That's
all right. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, folks.
All right, guys.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Everybody's patience and hanging in there. And Dave, thanks for the great intro. And I apologize for all the technical issues today, but I'll try to make sure that that we stick with the timeline for everybody. So, good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. Thanks again for attending. Really great to be together with everybody today. So, a couple of things about RMS Hospitality Group. We are a true MGA, and these are exclusive programs for everybody. We do have the pen. So what I'll try to touch base on a little bit is going to be some of the classes and some of the things that we can throw some tools your way to help you write some of this business. And again, if you have any questions, my contact information is available, obviously, and I could certainly schedule calls if you have anybody staff-wise that just wants to review our appetite and the submission process. So let's get to some of the classes that are on the screen. So nightclubs, we do a great job with them. They've been a good class for us over the past 6 to 7 years. Live music venues, we can certainly write them. What we normally see are probably some of the smaller to mid-size venues, but we can write them. Lounges, we can also write them as well, and that includes hookah lounges. As long as they're serving liquor, we can write them. Sports bars, pubs, taverns, never an issue with us. We love the class. Main thing that you're really going to be looking at with us is going to be taking a look at the percentage of liquor. I know some of the standard BOP markets normally will consider some of the risks at maybe 35 to 50% max on liquor sales, while we can go all the way up to 100% on liquor. So if it's the corner dive bar and it's 100% liquor, not a problem with us. Jazz clubs, again, similar to the music venues, we can certainly write those. Comedy clubs, no problem whatsoever. We just wrote a pretty nice one out in Missouri. Franchise food restaurants, and we'll jump into that in 1 or 2 screens. But Dave, if you can just go down to the next screen, we could talk about the actual product. So,
okay, just bear with me, Frank.
Sure.
Jump in. How do you rate for these? Is there a different rating mechanism for each one of these risks, or is it square foot? Is it sales? Is it a combination? What are we going to get into that? I just thought I'd ask that as we're going through.
Yeah, no, great question. It is really truly based on sales. We'll look at the percentage of sales sometimes on a bar, whether it's depending on 75% or more on liquor or less.
Okay.
But it is really driven by sales, and it is a blended rate for both the GL and the liquor.
Okay.
Great question.
All right. Am I on the right slide? Bars and nightclubs?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So some of the products that we offer, obviously the GL and the liquor, and we can go up to $1 million on liquor liability sales. We do have excess capabilities. The product itself does come with assault and battery coverage, the A and B. We can go up to $1 million on there. Or if you do want to go lower, maybe it's small restaurant and you don't need the $1 million, we could drop down to 100, 250, or 500 on there. We can write workers' comp for these classes. I know sometimes they could be a little tough. Probably the one class that we've not been able to really get our hands around are the exotics or the gentlemen's clubs for workers' comp. But as far as restaurants go, we could certainly do those. We can write property. It's a little challenging in certain states like Florida right now, but we do have the capability to offer property to go with the package. EPLI coverage, we can write that and offer that also. We do offer EBL within the program as well. Some of the highlights as far as our carriers go, we are an E&S market, but our carriers are A-rated. As I mentioned before, we can do 100% on liquor sales. We do not put a deductible on the policies. From time to time, if somebody asks for it, we'll consider it, but our GL does come with no deductible. When it comes to claim service, we take a lot of pride in our claim service. We do have our own TPA, third-party administrator, and they are, there's a high level of expertise when it comes to these types of exposures. So we'll pay the claim when it's a legitimate claim, but we're also really good at fighting to make sure that we're just not paying out automatically to make it go away. Turnaround time, we can get the quotes turned around normally in about 48 hours. But, the more time, the better. We try to get you a proposal out within 2 weeks of the effective date. But if you give me a date that you want to present by, obviously, that's what we're going to shoot for. We do have the program running really right now in all 50 states. There are a couple of states, though, that I want to mention that are a little tough right now with liquor exposures. So Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas are a little tight. They seem to be running a little hot right now, and some of the liquor laws in those states make it a little tough for us to write in. But we still would like to talk to you about those particular risks if you want to go in that direction.
Hey, Frank.
Dave,
Frank,
sure.
let's, since you were just talking about claims and the claims handling and how you all view that. So how do you all view risks with previous claim history?
So that's actually an area that we can consider. So if depending on what concerns us sometimes a little bit more is going to be the frequency.
Okay.
But we can write the accounts with some claim activity. One of the great things in our program is we do have the ability to throw out one shock loss. So say, for example, you have an account that's been in business for the last 5 years, and unfortunately, maybe back in 2020 or 2019, they had one large slip and fall. When we look at the pricing and underwriting on it, we can toss that out. So if there was a $100,000 loss, we'll be able to take that out of the equation for you.
Okay. Is there any prohibition of, you said frequency, is there a prohibition of how many? Or it's a case by case?
It's totally case by case with us.
Okay. Perfect. All right. You want me to move to the next slide?
Yeah, please. Franchise food.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so franchise food is another area that we do extremely well in. We've been in this space now for over 20 years, and we do know how to write them. If you could slide down a little bit, Dave.
I got you right there.
There we go.
Yep.
Yes. So some of the restaurant types that you're going to see are going to be the fast food, for example, a Wendy's or Burger King, quick serve restaurants. Panera's is a good example. Family style, IHOP, Denny's. And then we could also write some of the locations, like an Applebee's, that have a higher liquor exposure on them. Not an issue at all with any of those. We love franchise food. We can work with you on the schedules. Sometimes where we really, I was on a call yesterday with our franchise food administrator, and one of the areas that we normally excel in are going to be the schedules that are 5 or more locations. So sometimes the one-offs or the 2 locations may fit better for you on a BOP with an admitted market. But once you start to get into 5 or more locations, which is not unusual, we've seen them as over 50, 60 locations easily. That's where we can take our product and really hit the number that you're giving us. So, that's one of the things I will ask for is if you have a target that you want us to dial in on, that's going to make it a lot easier for underwriting to work with you on it to make sure we win that account for you. Okay, Dave, if you can just drop down. There we go.
Yep.
Okay, so again, product line, GL, liquor, if you need it for the franchise. Some of them don't serve it, so we can back that out of the equation. A and B coverage, products and completed ops, workers' comp, property, EPLI again. Our carriers, again, are going to be E&S in the space, and they are AM Best A rated. You do get broad restaurant coverage on there. Now, hired and non-owned auto, we do have a true H&OA program that we could offer. So if that restaurant is delivering, we can work with you on getting them coverage. We do offer the incidental anytime you need it, just in case they're going to be, running some of the errands like delivering or going to the bank or picking up some supplies. But if they are delivering, we'll work with you on it with the H&OA. We have some really good educational videos also for the employees of that restaurant to show them how to avoid getting into an accident and just making sure that they're prepared daily to be driving on behalf of the insured. Pretty much flexible forms on there, and again, writing in all 50 states.
Okay. When you say flexible forms, Frank, what can you give us just a general idea of what agents, what kind of forms you're talking about there?
What we're trying to present is anything that the franchisor may be requiring. So franchise food, in a lot of cases, the franchisee is answering back to the franchisor as far as the different forms that they're going to require.
Okay.
So we'll be able to add that in there and make sure that it meets the requirements, whether it's A and B coverage, outside or inside the limits, I should say. So we can certainly work with them on those.
Okay. All right. Now the appointment and submission process, Frank.
Okay. So the appointment process, Dave and his team do a great job of getting everything set up. And just so everybody knows, just by virtue of being members of the association, you're automatically approved. So the documents, his team will send them over. You guys are pre-approved. All we need to do is a really quick phone interview. But once you're ready to go, we'd love to get you guys signed up and answer any questions that you may have. Submission process is really pretty easy with us. Once we get you appointed, we'll give you access to our portal. It's not really a rating platform. It's really designed to be a system that's going to clear the account for you. So we're just going to need some of the basic information on the account. Some of the documents that we are going to be looking for is obviously accords, loss runs, and a supplemental. Some of the issues when it comes to liquor exposure, security, and entertainment are a little different on some of these risks than they are, say, on a normal BOP. But that's pretty easy. If you do have any submissions that you're not sure of, I'm always available just for a quick email or phone call and just say, hey, look, I have this location and I want to run it past you just to make sure that it fits in the program, whether it's minimum sales or premium. I certainly would welcome the opportunity to discuss that. So,
Hello, Frank. Can't even hear myself now, Brian. Can you? Okay. Yeah, we've lost Frank. Again, we apologize, folks. This is something that's unfortunate. It happens from time to time when we do these shows live. So don't know what's happening. All right, he's gonna dial back in. So in the meantime, let's just if you have questions, please type them in the question pane. You see the appointment process. As Frank mentioned, as a member of FAI or another state association that may be on this call, you're automatically can get an appointment through this program. So it's an easy process to filter through, and then of course you can begin to use the portal and submit business for Frank and the team to review. So hopefully that helps. When we get Frank back on, we're going to go into commissions. We're going to go into some other things that I'm sure you have questions on. But if you do have questions in the meantime, please post them, and we'll get Frank to answer those. So while we're waiting on that, just a brief update. FAI continues to be very active in Tallahassee during committee weeks, and certainly the hot button continues to be one of the cost drivers of the property market is roofs and things that are happening in and around roofs. And so,
Frank, are you back with us?
Barely hear him. Oh, wait,
Dave.
Frank. Yep, you're back. All right.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened there, but
Yep.
Seems like we got dropped.
Okay. So, but I was just explaining them, got your contact information here, Frank. So question, and I'll answer this one, but talks about where members can find this information on our website, at least, and certainly I'm sure on others associations that may be on this call today. You'd have to look at your home page and under products and services, and you drop down and you see what you can sell. And under there is the platform for RMS Hospitality. So that's where you can find it on the FAIA site. And I suspect it's kind of the same process with some of the other associations that may be online here. Frank, I got you up real early this morning because you are in California. So just curious, what kind of impact does that make on you and providing service to the members of us that are on the East Coast?
It really doesn't. I'm up early. I think Dave knows we've spoken sometimes pretty early in the morning. So, I tend to run it, and I'm a former New Yorker, so a lot of my contacts and a lot of the accounts are still in New York, especially Long Island. So there's not going to be any difference. And
Okay.
We've been operational for, I don't know, about 7 or 8 years remotely anyway.
Okay.
So if it does anything, it's a positive, just giving me some expanded hours late into the afternoon and evening.
Perfect. Yeah.
So
I figured
just a plus.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to say that, because I think with this remote and this flexibility, I think most of us are working, a little bit longer hours because of the lack of commute. So, Frank, let's get into the nitty gritty. What's the commission rate and how do agents get paid?
Sure. So basically, the commission rate is going to be 12% new and renewal. Everybody gets, basically, it's going to be agency bill. So once you collect the payment, you're going to hold on to your commission and send us the rest of it over, and we'll file the taxes and fees, so you don't have to be concerned on that. But there is just for full transparency, there is no profit sharing arrangement in this program, but some of these accounts could be pretty significant. So it's not unusual to be writing accounts that are well over 50,000, 100,000. So there's some pretty good money on the table if you can work with us on writing these accounts.
Right. We're gonna put up the success stories here in a minute, but another thing that you brought to my attention, and certainly it's near and dear to my heart here at FAI, is education. Do you all offer agents some opportunity to maybe provide some education surrounding some of these programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So what normally works is we'll set up a call with the agency, and all we ask is that you get us on the phone or the screen with the CSR or account exec that's probably going to be working on them. So we'll walk them through again the appetite, what we're looking for, try to give them some tips that are going to help them when they actually engage with the insured, and also the submission process. And one of the things that I always try to do is make sure that they understand our thought process when it comes to underwriting. So if we're going to decline a risk, I want them to understand what we're looking for. So it really helps save everybody some time on the submissions.
Right. So is this something you can offer, some of the folks that are on this call today, for the team to do some kind of a, just like we're doing here today, you make a presentation and field questions from the team so they get a better understanding of the programs?
Yeah, absolutely. Just all I ask is get me some options for dates and times, and we can certainly set that up.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's switch gears and talk about some of the success stories that you all have been in 2021, and certainly it's as you can see, it's multiple states, some in Florida, some in other states that are on this call today. So, can you point to a couple that, especially the nightclubs or the franchise foods? Are there anything that any obstacles that you had to overcome to secure that business, Frank? Let's go to number 3, franchise family style. When you wrote the property in the GL in California, and you and I have spoken about this recently. Florida is you mentioned it here, but we certainly see it every day about the property market. But you mentioned California having some challenges as well.
Yeah, so we were able to work with this particular agent to look at the locations. California is a little different than obviously than Florida when it comes to the property concerns. But either state, what we'll do is normally get the schedule, the SOV on the locations, and then we'll map them out. We'll go to our carriers and present to them. In this particular case, if I remember correctly, it was just a matter of there was some concern that the locations were grouped together a little close, but we were able to make sure that there were all the safety items, whether it was the sprinkler systems, the construction type, when the renovations were done. But really, it was a good account. It's still performing well, and luckily this year California seems to be doing a little better, at least Southern California, with the fire exposure right now, and got some rain coming in.
So Frank, if you look at the list, in some instances you write the property in the GL, but in many you just write the GL. So would you consider that maybe one of your sweet spots to write GL on a lot of these types of risks?
Yeah, absolutely. So especially the non-franchise business, that's going to be really probably where our sweet spot is. So and we don't have to write both for you. So if you have a standalone market for property, that's fine. Sometimes depending on the state, sometimes some of the local agents have a better handle on the property than we may have. But again, on the GL liquor, that's where we can really work with you on getting the pricing where you need it.
Okay. So a couple questions that have come in, Frank. Does RMS have exclusive with one carrier or various carriers? That's question number 1.
It is going to be various carriers right now.
And are they AM Best rated?
Yes, they are AM Best rated. They're all two of the carriers are A minus. The third is a B plus 11, and that one comes into play sometimes on some of the dicier risks. So it's for example, with the gentlemen's clubs, depending on the club itself, we may be looking to offer the carrier that's a B plus. But in some cases, what I'm able to do sometimes is I'll be able to give you some indications on what the pricing will be with the B plus carrier or A minus. A minus normally is going to be a little bit of a slightly higher rate per thousand. And it really comes down to you're going to need to make that decision if you can go to B plus, whether it's related to your E&O or the insured feels comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's all from an agent's perspective, it's certainly going to be based on their E&O concerns when you drop down below an A. Is there a minimum sales threshold?
Yeah, Yeah, normally what we're trying to really look at, and we try to be realistic on it, but normally we're trying to stay somewhere around 500,000. You know, if it's slightly lower, you know, we can look at it if it's a good risk. But one of the things as I said before, and that kind of goes back to Dave's question about the education process, one of the things that we really try to avoid, and I work with all the you know, the accountants and CSRs and agency principals, is getting these submissions that have ridiculously low sales. So, you know, we'll look at it and just, you know, like for example, if I get a New York City exposure and their sales may be 200,000 and they're in Manhattan, I'm really not sure how they're going to be able to keep their doors open.
Right. So
normally we try to benchmark it at 500, but it also depends on the class and it depends on the city and state that they're in.
Right. So, you know, they're sprinkled throughout this. There's some Florida success stories, Frank, and you continue to work with many Florida agents that are probably on this call, or certainly some that couldn't make it today. But, you know, Florida, you know, we represent independent insurance agents here in Florida. So we want to continue to grow this partnership, and certainly any questions that come out of this, we're going to pass them along to you, Frank.
Great.
And certainly there's Frank's contact information. If you have any questions, you know, reach out to myself and we'll get you in touch with Frank. Again, it's on the FAI website under products and services. And then you'll see the, under IMS, you'll see the RMS Hospitality Group link, and that will get you to the appointment process. And then certainly once that occurs, you'll move right into submitting business. So any other questions from the folks on the call today, certainly type them in. Frank, any other things that agents need to be aware of as far as RMS and the you know, some of the programs and considerations as agents look to submit business to you?
No, not really. Like I said, you know, we take a lot of pride in our programs, and we take a lot of pride in the relationship with you guys and the associations. So, you know, we understand how difficult it is as an agent, especially nowadays with the markets and all of the craziness that's going on right now. But we're here to work with you. And again, we take a lot of pride in we'll pick up the phone, we'll get right back to you. You know, again, we understand how tough it is and we want to be your partners.
Okay. Well, folks, looks like, can you handle other classes of business besides hospitality?
Yeah, we can. We have our MGA program division, and we have wholesaling capabilities to write some of the other classes. But in the program specifically, as an MGA, those classes that we went over are what we're going to have the pen to be able to rate for. But we do have the capability to write with some other carriers through our wholesale division. So if you have questions on that and you may not have that carrier, I would love to talk to you about it just inside the program.
Yeah. One agent comments they seem fairly easy to work with. So it sounds like, you know, what you have set up as far as a submission process seems pretty user friendly for agents. So hopefully that's the case, not only in this program, but maybe some other things that you can work on with agents as well. So, all right. Well, Frank, I really appreciate it. No other questions are coming in. We went over commissions. We went over some of the training opportunities, and certainly any questions, or, you know, you just want to get a better understanding of something you have on your desk or something you're working on as a prospect, give Frank a buzz, and he can
and I'll
walk through that process with you.
Yeah, and I'll if it's okay, Dave, let me just throw in. I can give everybody my cell phone number just in case.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So the cell is going to be 516-417-0824. So besides my landline, that's going to give you the cell and my email address.
Yeah. Say that cell again, Frank.
Sure.
All right, I'll say it. 516-417-0824. That's Frank's cell. I want to thank everybody, and we certainly apologize for some of the technical difficulties that we had today. But I'm glad you joined us today for this presentation on RMS Hospitality Group. We appreciate you tuning in to Friday Morning Live, and our next show is November the 12th. You guys have a great day, great weekend, and enjoy some good baseball tonight. Atlanta versus Houston, whoever you're pulling for. So good luck, folks, and talk to you soon.